Alright guys, so we finally have the full spoilers for chapter 3 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. And let's just say that Boruto's Ransegan is absolutely overpowered. And Code has not changed one bit because he got absolutely destroyed by Boruto in this chapter. So before we get into it, of course we're gonna start from the top. So it says here that the chapter title is Uzuiko, which is the name of Boruto's new Ransegan. And the Ransegan is really the main focus of this chapter, so it makes sense that this is the title of the chapter, of course. But on the cover page it has Himawari. Now Himawari is featured in the chapter for one panel. I don't know why she's on the cover, but she is in the chapter. Now Abdul goes on to say that the chapter begins where it ended last month. Boruto is approaching Code with his new technique. Code decides to take action by restricting Boruto's movement. Code says, if it doesn't hit you, meaning me, it's meaningless. And of course it shows that Code is moving towards Boruto, and he also grabbed Boruto's arm. Now for power scaling reasons, it's also interesting to point out that Code used his car mark to appear behind Boruto, and Boruto is able to react to Code. So this kinda like hints towards Boruto being somewhat relative to this version to Code, at least physically. Now, I want to point out that Boruto is still in his base form, and so is Code. And if you believe that Code's power really stems from the Karma Seal, then Code isn't at full power at this point in time, so we can't really say that Boruto is stronger than full power Code, or that Code is stronger than full power Boruto. We haven't seen them enter their full state as yet, so let's just wait and see. Now, it did go on to say that somehow Boruto's new technique is wrapping around Code's arm. The same wind rotation circles can be seen on Code's left arm. Boruto then says, I told you that it's easy to and simple to kill you. And of course it shows that Boruto's technique is wrapping around Code's arm, and also that Boruto reacted to Code using his katana or sword. Then it says that Boruto gives Code his final warning. Boruto says, I'm going to tell you one more time, Code. This is your last warning. If you can't lead me to the 10 tails, then you'll die here. And Code replied saying, don't make me laugh, Boruto. If you can do it, then do it. And what's absolutely fascinating here is that Boruto is standing there, not even moving. He has the Rasengan wrapping around his body, right? And Code is trying to attack him, but for some reason he can't. And not in the sense that Code can't move. He can move, but for some reason he can't touch Boruto. It then says here that Code approaches Boruto with intent to kill, but somehow misses Boruto and ended up behind him. He goes for the attack again and misses again. Even Code is baffled as to what is going on. He thinks Boruto is simply dodging him, but how? And of course it shows that Code cannot touch Boruto. It seems like Code is phasing through Boruto, or Boruto is just swiftly dodging him at the last second, but Boruto isn't moving. So this technique is absolutely insane here. Now it isn't fully explained in this chapter, but something is said which we're going to address in a few moments. Now it then says that Boruto hits Code with his new technique, Ransegan Uzuiko. And we see that Boruto lands his fist or his palm directly on Code's stomach, and he then pushes Code away. Now it does seem like Boruto is using the wind element of the earth itself, or the chakra of the planet. Now this is somewhat explained later on, but we're going to address it. But first I want to point out that you see the wind wrapping around Boruto's feet, which aided him in pushing Code away. So it seems like Boruto is using the atmosphere itself to aid him in the battle, and this is absolutely insane. So we see that Boruto pushes Code away, and the panel is absolutely gorgeous. Ikimoto is doing his best here, so it looks really good. Now this part is Abdul trying to understand the technique. So it says here that I don't properly understand it, so I'll speak about it as little as I can. But Boruto's new technique is rotation of the star. Chakra equivalent to the rotation of a star was embedded into Code via this attack. So he's saying here that the attack embedded the rotation of a star into Code. Now in Boruto and Naruto, star can mean multiple things. It could be referring to a planet, it could be referring to any satellite, or just an actual star. But we did get some translations here on page 24 where Code says, damn, what did you do? Then it seems like Boruto says, enjoy it as much as you like. Think of it as a strike back from the planet you tried to destroy. So Boruto is telling Code to think of the attack as a strike back from the planet he tried to destroy, which would be Earth, or this planet. And then Code replied saying the planet. Then Boruto replied saying the chakra of the planet, a Rasengan that took in the rotation from it, that is Uzuiko. And now the power running inside of your body will never disappear until the planet itself stops the rotation. So this is absolutely insane, right? So basically Boruto is saying that he took the planet's rotation itself and inserted it into code. And this is an everlasting thing because it later says the damage will last permanently before the planet stops the rotation, your life will end unless I deactivate Uzuiko. So I want you guys to understand how overpowered this ability is. Of course you have the defensive portion where Code wasn't able to touch Boruto. That part hasn't been explained fully as yet, but the offensive portion of the technique, which would be this portion of it, where Boruto inserts the energy of the planet into Code, this part is absolutely overpowered. Because what it's saying here is that Boruto implanted the chakra of the planet itself that causes the planet to rotate. So basically what it's establishing here is that the planet in Boruto rotates using the chakra embedded into the planet, which is the same chakra the Ten Tails absorbs to make the chakra fruit, which would be nature energy. So it seems like Boruto is currently using natural energy with this Rasengan. And what's funny is that it actually shows it in this chapter because Code, after being inserted with this chakra, every time he looks at Boruto he sees this whirlwind moving in that direction, so it's rotating, and he feels disoriented, he can't stand, he keeps tumbling over. So Code at this point can't even fight Boruto, it's actually over for Code. Now it then says that Kawaki enters the scene. Of course Kawaki would save Code, of course. Now I did think it was gonna be Mitsuki, but it was Kawaki. And then it says that Code tries to escape, but Kawaki uses his dojutsu to cancel his escape plan. Code then brings out the creature, then escapes via that. So it actually shows that Kawaki directly tried to kill Boruto. So some people are saying that maybe Kawaki cooled off and whatever, but no, Kawaki still has the same killer instinct for Boruto since he went directly for the kill. But of course Boruto is able to dodge the attack. Then it says, as Code has escaped, Shikamaru advises everyone to focus on the rest of his army. However, Kawaki wants to confront Boruto after 3 years. Despite Kawaki's bad ill mouth, Boruto still says, I'm glad to see you are doing well. Now I did say that Himawari did show up in this chapter, which would be this moment because Kawaki actually arrived with Inojin, Shikadai, Chocho, and Himawari. So they're all in the same location at this point in time. And it actually showed Boruto reacting to seeing Himawari, and it was kind of sad, you know, because he can't really say anything, so he's kind of stoic in the moment. But Himawari is actually showing some emotion in this scene because, of course, because she still believes that Naruto is alive and she thinks Kawaki did this for some reason that he's not telling anyone, so she still has trust in Kawaki for some reason. By the way, I say Kawaki because she does believe that Boruto is now Kawaki. She is affected by omnipotence. Now then it switches over to Code arriving in the Ten Tails dimension. So he hasn't moved the Ten Tails, it's in the same location. And it says here that Boruto implanted a toad on Code and is actively communicating with it to figure out if the Ten Tails has been spotted. Then it says, meanwhile, not good news for Bug, unfortunately. And it shows that Bug has been turned into a tree, which is tragic, I guess. But yeah, Code is gone, but then it revealed something very, very interesting. So it shows that the Ten Tails is completely pinned down and it's a shadow of its former self. It's actually very, very small, but the body is still there. And incidentally, it does look like one of the clawgrams. So it seems like the reason why the clawgrams look the way they do is because that is a form of the Ten Tails. So it shows that the Ten Tails is on the ground, it has a rod stuck in its chest, and the same with the tails being pinned down. And then it says that the toad implanted on Code by Boruto confirms the sighting of the Ten Tails. Now what's interesting here is that it seems that the Ten Tails has been sucked off most of its chakra, right? And I think that most people are going to say that Code is going to absorb the Ten Tails itself and gain immeasurable power. But I don't think that's possible. Now he might absorb the Ten Tails and get stronger, but this Ten Tails is nothing in comparison to Boruto's power. Like even if he absorbs this Ten Tails is lacking in chakra and power, right? Now it does have its innate power, which I don't think is a lot at this point in time because you have to remember that this is a juvenile Ten Tails, right? It hasn't absorbed an Otsutsuki and it hasn't absorbed the chakra of a planet. So this Ten Tails wasn't strong to begin with. So if Code absorbs his Ten Tails, I don't see him eclipsing Boruto's power using the Ten Tails. So something different must happen. But I do believe that in order for Code to survive, because he's still being affected by Boruto's Rasengan. So Rasengan is still destroying Code from inside. So he must do something in order to survive. Now it is possible that Boruto saves Code by deactivating the technique because he now knows the location of the 10 tails, but even so I think Code will want to like prevent that from happening again, and he feels like maybe the 10 tails would help him, or maybe the 10 tails tells him that it can help him, right? So maybe that will happen later on. But what's interesting here is that we see that one of Code's claw mark is over the eye of the 10 tails. So we did see in the prior chapter that some of the clawgrams were able to somewhat manifest a Renegon, right? But the difference with the 10 tails Renegon and the clawgrams Renegon is that it didn't have the tomeways, which are the small dots within the Renegon. Now this is very interesting because it could be that Renegon is the same color on the clawgrams, right? You can assume that if it's used in the 10 tails Renegon, then it should have a red Renegon. Now the counter to that would be that if it doesn't have the tomoe, then it isn't the 10 tails Renegon. But it's possible that you could argue that maybe similar to how Sasuke loses the tomoe in his Renegon when he loses power, then it could be the same for the 10 tails. So the clawgrams could in fact be using the 10 tails Renegon. But because the 10 tails is in a weakened state, then that's why it doesn't have the tomoes. Now that's just my rationalization for it. Of course it might be revealed in the actual full translation, which I think you guys should support when it comes out. Now the chapter drops on the 19th, so of course maybe OP Scan comes out with an actual full translation by tomorrow, and then we have the chapter the other day. Now I'm not sure if I'm gonna wait until the full chapter comes out on the official day, or if I'm gonna do like a review of the OP scans, but we'll just have to wait and see. All in all, the chapter seems like a really good chapter. Of course we haven't seen every single thing because it's just the spoilers. Now I do have the full chapter, but it hasn't been translated, so we'll just have to wait and see. Just know that most of the chapter is just them fighting, and then we have some information on the 10 tails. So that's basically it. So let me know your thoughts on Code versus Boruto. Do you think Boruto is now stronger than full power Code, even though we haven't seen either of them use the actual karma, which I found very weird, right? I would have liked if they actually went into the karma state, then we could have like settled who's stronger when using the karma, because of course Code is using the karma of a way stronger Tsutsuki. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like if you like the video and subscribe for more Boruto centric content. See you guys later on. Peace out.